everyone, Chief Meteorologist Melissa Fry here at Alaska's News Source, and we have a lot going on across the state. That is typically the case in winter in Alaska, but this is pretty exceptional what we have going on. So we have issued multiple first alert weather days. There are currently 4 in effect for Alaska this week, and the whole point of a first alert weather day is just our way of communicating with you that, hey, there's something coming that you probably want to be prepared for. It might be something inconvenient, it might be something more dangerous, and in this case we have a combination of all of the above. A lot of winter impacts coming with this next storm, so I want to get you up to speed. If you happen to be watching on Facebook, pop in the comments, let me know where are you watching from, what is the weather like where you are, and let me know if you have any questions as we go through the forecast. I want to make sure that you have all the information that you need to make sure that you are staying safe and prepared for these impacts. So I do want to start here with just current conditions, because we have seen some significant fog, dense fog forming in Anchorage. Temperatures have now fallen back below freezing, 31 degrees in Anchorage and in Palmer, where we do have that dense fog in place. And fog is just suspended water. It's just water that's floating in the air, and as soon as it touches something, it either turns to that full liquid water that we see, or if that surface is below freezing, which is the case for most of Anchorage at this point, that does turn to ice on contact. So not only did we have the freezing rain this morning, now we're seeing that dense freezing fog, which is both impacting visibility and adding additional ice to our roads. Fairbanks, we are seeing relatively calm conditions for you, temperatures in the mid-teens, but you do have both snow and a real significant cold snap on the way. Juneau staying pretty mild, warm at 40 degrees, but seeing some light rain showers moving through. So let's walk through this forecast and let you know what you can expect. Again, really overnight tonight, biggest impacts in Anchorage is that dense fog. So if you're headed out this evening into early tomorrow morning, be prepared to really reduce those speeds, because that visibility is less than a quarter of a mile in many locations, and then again it is freezing on our surfaces. Visibility is now 0 in Anchorage, 1 in Kenai. It's been fluctuating between 0 and more in Palmer, down to 3 miles in Talkeetna. So you're going to run into fog if you're traveling here across South Central tonight, and it is dry, but you can see temperatures across the Anchorage Bowl are now below freezing for most of the city. 30 out at Merrill Field, 29 on Muldoon, 29 degrees in Eagle River tonight. We're also seeing those temperatures now starting to drop back below freezing, even for the Anchorage hillside. So again, first alert weather days are in effect for Anchorage, not only dealing with the dense fog tonight, but we do have freezing rain that is on the way for Tuesday. Yes, a second round of freezing rain is on the way for Tuesday. For the Kuskokwim Delta, even heavier freezing rain, significant icing is likely for you. And then we will also see some wind. Excuse me, doing a lot of talking today. We will also see freezing rain and wind pushing in on Tuesday. Now, as you move into the interior, we are going to see this storm pushing your way. And hold on just a second, I'm going to get a drink of water. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Got some water. Didn't want to make you listen to me coughing this whole time. But again, for the interior, what I was saying is that this storm will move your direction next. So 2 things I want you to be prepared for. First is that snow moving in once we get into Wednesday. Even a short period of freezing rain is possible in Fairbanks tomorrow ahead of the storm. And then behind it, we do have a lot of cold air moving in, and that is really going to drop those temperatures significantly. Likely to see the first 20 below low temperature for Fairbanks starting Friday morning, and then not even getting above 0 during the day as we head all the way through the weekend. So looking ahead to the next 24 hours, starting here in Anchorage, where we are seeing these impacts already. Again, it's dense freezing fog tonight. But I do expect us to see some light freezing rain tomorrow morning. Temperatures will gradually warm back into those mid 30s, very similar to what we saw here earlier today, although a bit more moisture even than what we saw late Sunday night. So be prepared for another icy commute in Anchorage. We'll see things breaking up in the second half of the day. High temperatures back into those mid 30s. And then once we get later in the week, colder air and more snow is on the way. So again, for South Central, the first impact tonight, that dense freezing fog, but then tomorrow we have that second round of freezing rain that you want to be prepared for. Okay, here is that storm. This is the area of low pressure that's going to move across the state. It's only one storm, but again, significant impacts from it. You can see widespread warnings in effect from those ice storm warnings and winter storm warnings from the western side of the state to winter weather advisories from the interior all the way into Anchorage. So looking at that next big thing, the next big impacts that you need to be prepared for, that combination of rain, freezing rain and snow, significant icing in the southwest corner of the state, and then that light freezing rain that we're preparing for here in Anchorage. I want to start in the southwest corner of the state. Not as many people impacted in this area, but it will be dangerous conditions that we're seeing here. So early tomorrow morning, continuing all the way through Wednesday morning, there is an ice storm warning in effect for everyone that you see highlighted there in that dark pink color. That is where we're seeing significant ice accumulation likely, in addition to wind gusts up around 45 miles per hour. And as that heavy precipitation moves through, that's all going to drop that visibility down to around a quarter mile. All of those combinations mean that air travel is going to be very difficult in and out of Southwest Alaska. So do not be surprised if you see flight cancellations and delays, again, starting tonight and continuing for the next couple of days. As you travel further north and further inland, it's more likely that you'll see more snow than ice. So 4 to 8 inches of snow in those areas that you see highlighted there in pink. That does include Hooper Bay and McGrath. And then further north, we'll see less moisture pushing into Norton Sound all the way up into Tanana, but we will see snow likely as cold air is still in place. So 2 to 6 inches of snow along with those breezy winds. Now, as that moisture extends into South Central overnight, once it gets into Anchorage early tomorrow morning, that's when we're going to see that light freezing rain and ice glaze forming. Starting around 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, continuing through noon. So again, very similar to what we saw today. Now, once you get further north into the central Susitna Valley, we're talking about Houston north, I do expect that freezing rain to switch over to more snow. You want to be prepared for 2 to 4 inches of snow north of Houston. That is from tomorrow morning all the way through Wednesday. And then once you get north of Talkeetna all the way up to Broad Pass, that is where we'll see heavy snow, looking at 5 to 8 inches, 6 to 8 inches in that area. So again, those winter weather advisories in effect for South Central. Now, if you're watching from Kenai, Soldotna, Homer, Seward, Whittier, traveling through Turnagain Pass, you may be wondering, hey, what about us? You are going to see a lot of rain with this storm, snow in the highest elevations of the Turnagain Pass region, but not as much freezing rain. So it will be very wet. Be prepared for that, but it also will be very warm. And I'll have a closer look at that forecast in just a moment. But here's a timing of this moisture moving in. So you can see completely across the Kenai Peninsula here at 6:30 tomorrow morning, across the Anchorage Bowl into the valley, even pushing across Prince William Sound and through Thompson Pass. Again, on this map, purple is snow, pink is that freezing rain, snow rain mix, and green is plain old rain. And you can see we have all of the above across South Central, even all of the above right in Anchorage and in the valley. So be prepared again for winter driving impacts in the morning. As we head into the second half of the day, we clear out. I actually expect dry conditions for the second half of the day once we get into Wednesday morning. We will see chances for a few showers Wednesday, nothing too significant. Again, the most significant period will be early tomorrow morning for South Central. Later in the week, I'll show you that 7-day in a moment. We do have some changes, both more snow on the way and some significantly colder air on the way as well. But staying with tonight and tomorrow for the western side of the state, Galena, it's all snow, cold air is in place. Nome, light snow showers, but once you head south into Bethel, that's where we'll see freezing rain and snow likely, and those strong winds. You can see wind gusts up around 30 miles per hour in Bethel, but up to 50 in Gamble. As you head south, those winds will be stronger in the Aleutians, gusting to 60 miles per hour in Adak and Unalaska, to 55 in Cold Bay, seeing wind gusts to 75 miles per hour in St. Paul with very wet conditions. But it's warm enough enough that you don't have to worry about freezing rain. Dillingham, you'll also see those rain showers in through tomorrow. Now Kodiak, this is just rain, but watch out for those breezy winds gusting to near 45 miles per hour. For Homer, for Seward, it's heavy rain. Be prepared for that with high temperatures in the mid 40s, not even going below freezing overnight tonight. Kenai, Soldotna, you're below freezing overnight, but then back above during the day. Watch out for icy roads again tomorrow morning. A bit of a snow rain, freezing rain mix early, and then that'll dry out in the second half of the day. For Whittier, it's heavy rain, staying above freezing, breezy winds for you. We'll likely see chances for some snow pushing into the Copper River Basin, into the valley, again below freezing overnight tonight. Once you get north of Willow and Houston, it's going to be a mostly snow event for you. Further south, freezing rain likely in Wasilla and Palmer before we see temperatures warming midday. For Anchorage, below freezing overnight. So again, that's what we've been talking about, those icy roads during the morning commute. And then that rain moves in. A period of light freezing rain before we see regular rain into mid-morning. And then I do expect dry conditions for the second half of the day. 36 for the high temperature in Anchorage, up to 42 in Girdwood, and we will see breezy winds as this storm comes in. So first alert weather day is in effect tomorrow. That is for that freezing rain in the morning and just the continued icy road impacts that we've been seeing early this week. Wednesday and Thursday are pretty quiet. A little light snow is possible, but notice how those temperatures are dropping below freezing on Thursday, and then on Friday we will see chances for snow showers moving through, and by then finally temperatures just plain old below freezing, normal Alaska temperatures, so not having to deal with the freezing rain. But those temperatures continue to drop back to the teens during the day and single digits overnight, similar to what we saw about a week and a half ago. So that is the situation for South Central. But for those of you watching again further north, we're also watching for those temperatures dropping across the interior, but first seeing that snow that is going to move in. So here's a look at the weather alerts in effect for the interior that are going to continue all the way through Wednesday afternoon. This storm is going to produce a chance for light freezing rain transitioning to snow midday tomorrow, and then we'll see heavier snow heading into Wednesday. 3 to 7 inches generally for all the areas that you see there highlighted in purple. For Metro Fairbanks, you should be prepared for 3 to 5 inches with the highest amounts there on the south side of town and as you head north into the higher elevations. We will see some breezy winds across the central interior, especially in those higher elevations, and further west closer to McGrath. That's where the winter storm warnings are in effect for heavier snow and also seeing that strong wind. So again, that moves in starting Tuesday, but doesn't really ramp up until we get into Tuesday night and Wednesday. So first alert weather day is in effect for Fairbanks Wednesday for that snow. Now 3 to 5 inches of snow is not that big of a deal, especially for Fairbanks for this time of year. But again, this is really the first significant snow that we've seen in the interior. We did have one storm last month that brought 3 inches of snow. And so this will be on the order of that, if not a little bit more. So that's why I want to let you know also, because there is that freezing rain component, you should be extra diligent about, using precaution on the roads. And then also it's just been a while since we've seen a few inches of snow. And then as you look ahead to Friday, I added a first alert weather day to Friday because that is a significant change. Temperatures are going to go below zero, but below 20 degrees below zero as we head into early Friday morning. Easily the coldest temperatures we've seen so far this season. First time the temperatures would drop to 20 below in the interior, and it's going to stay that way all the way through the weekend into even early next week. Monday morning, still at 19 below to start the day. And again, temperatures aren't even going to get above zero in the heat of the day. So again, perfectly normal. In fact, this is pretty late to see temperatures this cold. Normally we would have expected that at the end of November, but it's here and I want you to be prepared for it. Again, make sure your cars are ready to go for 20 below. Looking at that statewide forecast down into Juneau, again, didn't highlight any alerts for you. It's just a regular old rain. It's still warm, 46 for the high temperature in Ketchikan tomorrow. As you head up to the slope, you are seeing warming conditions there as well. 11 in Ukiavik, 20 in Dead Horse. We will eventually see chances for some light snow there, but again, nothing extreme. Kotzebue, you hold on to the sunshine tomorrow. You're the winning spot in the state with high temperatures there back into the mid-teens. So That is the bottom line. It is a bit of a tricky forecast tonight. Again, just with those temperatures hovering right near that freezing mark. So we want to make sure that you're safe. We did have a number of accidents that were reported this morning, some scary situations out on those roads. Really fortunate that it wasn't worse. And with Anchorage schools closed and Matsu, many of them on a 2-hour delay, that made for less people on the road. So it was good that it wasn't worse. But please use that extra caution as you head into tomorrow morning. Be prepared for the ice, and as always, you can get that latest detailed forecast. We're going to keep updating it right at alaskasnewssource.com. Thanks for joining me tonight.